Well,
Hello.
well, welcome back. Look who's back in the saddle and happy to be
Oh,
here for another week with you, Jess.
yes, so happy you are here. It's like 2020 all over again. You are a little bit less dressed though than Nick. He did, elevate his style. So
Yeah, I don't have the same wardrobe as Nick. I think spending all those years in industry and now
yeah,
as a high power consultant, he tips the scales here that I can't quite reach.
yeah, we're gonna talk about resale later. I don't think he's getting this wardrobe off the resale sites either. This is just full price, baby, all the way.
I'll see. Like I think he is a thread up customer. We'll have to ask
Okay,
him about that one.
all right, we're gonna see.
Anyway, I'm super excited about all the great work that you guys did the last 6 months. So thank you, Nick, who's in the audience, and thank you, Jess, as always. We will definitely be having Nick back as kind of a roving reporter here on the show, and so I'm excited to see that. But first, I wanted to kick a few Super Bowl facts to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Well,
The first thing I thought was like, is this year's Vegas Super Bowl kind of like the NFL finally surrendering completely to the gambling industry? It was like, yeah, we don't care about gambling anymore. We're just going to go straight to the source.
right. Yeah. Well, did you see the news conference with Roger Goodell, and he was talking through the way that they're reprimanding players for gambling and how much harder it's gotten. He's like, "Look, we didn't change the game, but DraftKings, all these other sites, it's made it a lot easier to bet." So it's
Right.
it's
It's very easy to bet now. And one thing I picked out was like a stat for you is teams that wear white win 29 times and have lost 18 times. This year, the 49ers will wear white. Does that mean anything?
it could. But I just think the power of the Swifts are loud and strong, and it just
Travis can't lose. The other side of that stat is if you're the NFL regular season passing leader, that person who and the team that they're on has never won the Super Bowl. So Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy is NFL passing leader this year. I would say he's not going to win.
Yeah, that's a signal. Did you also see the picture that's going around of Christian McCaffrey when he's 2 going to see his dad who won the Super Bowl? And they're trying to like, can they recreate that
That
moment?
would be super cool. I did not see that photo, but you'll have to show it up.
Oh,
Maybe if you're in the audience and you have comments, we would love to see you. By the way, this is an interactive show, and so we're going to go into a few different segments of the show here and kind of roll into it. First up is our headline hangover, and we'll talk about some of the top 5 headlines in the past week, starting with spicy Coke.
oh, I love this one. There's a lot to say about this. I think we first just have to start with all the things that you can do with Coke. It's a rust removal. You can clean grease off of clothes. It removes the smell of skunk. It cleans tile grout. What do we think we can do with spicy Coke?
The headline here is that Coke is introducing a new flavor. I think TikTok paid them a lot of money for it, I'm guessing, because there's like some kind of tie-in to TikTok. This is like a far cry from the Coke of old that I remember where like people were happy and polar bears were drinking Coke during the
That's right.
holidays. Santa Claus drinks Coke. Now, like Chinese knockoffs are drinking Coke. That's what I'm getting out of this.
That's what you drink as you're shopping for your Chinese knockoffs on TikTok Shop.
That's it. So let's be clear. No one wants spicy Coke. What do we have next?
Yeah, the next thing we have up is VF Corp, and VF Corp has Project Reinvent is on the way for VF. They're very challenged.
VF Corp is the owner of brands like North Face, Vans, Timberland, and here's one for you, Dickies.
Dickies. Do people wear Dickies anymore?
My grandfather wore Dickies.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that whole edgy Carhartt. Like Carhartt reinvented itself, and like my 14-year-old has a Carhartt beanie, so it's like that's it. But Dickies, it doesn't seem like it's gotten that same
Isn't
type
there
of
like
excitement.
Dickies that's like something you wear, like women wear on their chest? That's called a Dickie too. You don't
No,
watch enough Downton Abbey.
I guess not. I did watch Downton Abbey, but Dickies does not stand out in my mind.
It's about as modern as Dickies. So there you go.
Yeah, and no, Nick would never wear Dickies. He would never.
No, his wardrobe is way elevated. Maybe he's gonna like build a house or something. He'll wear his Dickies on the job site.
Yeah, maybe a little painting. VF has had some challenges. They laid off 500 people in November. They've they've talked about, some of the pressures that brands like Vans are experiencing. North Face is propping them up as the street, it's become more streetwear. But I think they do have a lot of pressure as a business. And I think there's just a real question of, is Project Reinvent going to really be the answer for their transformation story?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a lot of their brands are down 20 to 30%, including Vans and Timberland and a number of these things. And reinvention might look as in like divestiture. Like, how can we sell off these brands while they're still worth something in a fire sale? So expect that in 2024.
I think so, especially when you have an activist investor coming in who has a lot of good ideas. Those rooms are full of good ideas to help the company. Speaking of help, if you're a Target customer and you want to save money, do you have the Russian roulette now of, let me flip a coin and just see which type of loyalty program service I want to use? Is it now Prime? Is it Red Card? Is it Target Circle? What do I do if I'm a customer?
Yeah, so it's the news here is that there's a rumor out there, which like has not been officially announced, that Target is considering a competitor to Amazon Prime. And look, it makes sense. Target has a lot of loyal customers, even despite sort of falling on hard times in the last year. They have that Target run. It still has a lot of cachet, especially for kids. People with kids love Target, just because of the clothes are, kind of great and inexpensive. My newborn is in some Target Cloud Island, which is like a cool brand
Nice.
for a newborn. So I'm excited about that. But the multitude of programs that Target has had for the last few years, you have Red Card, you have Target Circle, you have Shipt, you have same day pickup. Am I missing something? Like, it seems like there should be, I don't know, call me crazy, one loyalty program for good members and like maybe tiers. And so if I have a $99 Shipt, does the average consumer even know that Shipt is associated with Target?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm a Target customer. I love Target. It is challenging to figure out as a busy working mom, what am I doing? I have Red Card. I have the app. I don't have time though to like manage all these different coupons. And then Shipt, when you have all these other different services, what's really the competitive advantage of Shipt when you also have Amazon Prime and things can get to my door? Amazon has trained everyone. And now with all the things that you just talked about last week in earnings, 65% of the items can go within a day to a day and a half. Target's got to get people into the store. And what I see is like Target's becoming closer to Walmart versus expanding that bar with their redesign. So I applaud that they're trying something new. I think it remains to be seen if it's going to work or not.
Yeah, the best faint praise I can put on this is like, it couldn't possibly get worse.
True. There's only one way, which is up.
That's my favorite way to improve.
Yeah,
Next
there
up,
you
we
go.
have Shopify, which seems to have increased its pricing on its Plus offering. And so they're going from $2,000 a month to $2,500 a month, which for the math junkies in the audience, $24,000 a year to $30,000 a year. And they're increasing the pricing from 0.25% to what, 0.3 or 0.4% for the transactional fee, and increasing their payment pricing. So like moving on up from a pricing point of view, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Speaking of things going up, they're like, hey, it's inflation. Price of eggs have gone up like 80%. Why can't we raise prices? Is this really funding what they have to do on the enterprise? So they're squeezing the mid-market. Like, what's the strategy, you think?
Look, I think the strategy is financially motivated. How can we increase our gross margins? Because our subscription revenue is, higher margin than our transactional revenue. That's the merchant services revenue. And so they did a repricing last year, which I kind of called like a warning shot for plus
Yeah.
pricing. I think it was sort of widely speculated that they've not increased plus pricing in the past 5 years, and they've added all these new features. Surely one of them is worth something, so we must be able to charge more for it.
Right. Do you also think that they could be seeing some potential writing on the wall that sales are like transaction sales could go down? People are growing mostly on AOV. And so the number of like actual orders, transactions they need to offset that somehow, and so they're raising the subscription price?
Yeah, if you're Shopify and you're like in the mid-market and or enterprise, you have two problems. Number one is like a lot of the apps that are attached to Shopify cost you like 3 and 4 times what Shopify does. And
Right.
so it's kind of embarrassing if as a retailer, you look at your P&L, it's like Shopify, very small line item, and then like Klaviyo, and then like your paid media and your subscription vendor is a huge number. And Shopify is like a much smaller number. And so to me, that's one problem they have. And second is particularly as they go up market, I would say into the upper mid market, like enterprise, I think they have separate pricing. They're competing against people who just sound like they're more solid because their pricing is like, oh, 150 grand a year. And like,
It's
what's,
transparent. You can budget.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, the Shopify pricing is like, well, some pocket change. Like, it just doesn't sound as solid.
Yeah, yeah. It's not easy for the CFO to put the line item in the budget and say, "This is what it's gonna cost me."
Right.
That's what every CFO loves.
And this is gonna run our $200 million business.
Right. I have one more headline for you, which I think is
Awesome.
the best one to end on. In the 90s, when we were, hanging with our boy Snoop, did you ever think you would hear a headline of Snoop Walmart lawsuit?
This sounds like a promotion for the Friday after next.
So here's the story. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre actually are suing Walmart because the cereal that Snoop has spearheaded, and they're also suing Post. So we should add that like wholesome name brand in there. They are accusing them basically of keeping Snoop's cereal in the back stock of the store, not putting it out on the shelves, not marketing it. So do you think there's any merit here?
Like I was gonna stock the shelves and then I got high. That's kind of like what comes down here. Like you can sing along in the audience, like if you have something you can contribute here.
Yeah. So that'll be pretty interesting to see what the fallout is. And I don't think if you're Walmart, you want to piss off Snoop.
100%. I think Snoop and his already army of followers, including kind of like on the rap side and then the promotional side. Walmart doesn't want to mess with that.
No. And if you
Um,
mess with Snoop, you mess with Martha. You don't want that
Mar-
tag team on your ass.
yeah,
The
she is a
boss.
prison. She is a prison shank. She learned that
The
stuff in
boss.
prison.
All right. I think we have wrapped now on the headline hangover. You guys let us know if there's anything you think we missed.
The first topic we're going into here on the show is Andy Jassy. And I thought this would be a good time. He's been in the job a couple of years. He actually joined in July 2021. And I thought it would be a fun idea to do a scorecard for Andy Jassy.
This one is good. He had a lot of heat on him last year and a lot of pressure. So it is a good time to reflect and see, were the critics wrong? And has he really done a good job of turning it around? We talked a little bit about this, but I know you've got a breakdown on all of the key points and a little grading system. So we're going to break that down.
Yeah, report card I think is interesting. I mean, coming into 2021, Jeff went out on a high. I mean, look, there's not many more successful companies than Amazon in the past 20, 25 years. The company doubled its fulfillment network and their profitability tanked. And so if you look at the beginning of these graphs, I pulled out a few things: free cash flow, profit margins, return on invested capital, and their revenue. All those started at a low level. Fast forward to the end, had been on upward trends in the past 2 years. And so I think from a finance point of view, you have to give him very high marks for these items, at least like in terms of your margin is Amazon's opportunity.
Right.
Uh, he's very good at doing that.
Yeah, he has milked that margin and he has thrown it right into the P&L, making all the investors happy, right? That's his
Yeah,
job
I mean,
at the end of the day.
well, I remember like the line from "There Will Be Blood." Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's drinking your milkshake. That's what he's doing.
Yes, he is. Oh, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Exactly. On the financial side, that's a good review of those items. From a stock to the beginning of last year, I think that's when we had sort of the most troubles
Yeah,
because in 2022 they saw a lot of profitability challenges. They're like, peace out.
right.
We're gonna kick the stock into overdrive. We're gonna regionalize our inventory. which is going to improve our profit margins. And the stock has really responded to that.
Yeah, I mean, we rebound much, right? Amazon's always been applauded for being innovative, and they probably rested on some laurels a bit and felt like, hey, we've invested in this fulfillment network, it's working. And what I do applaud Jassy with is he's like, look, we have to set the bar high and jump over that again, right? We've set the bar high throughout our trajectory. We've been continually raising it. Now we've got to do it again and rethink the model. And he definitely delivered.
He's definitely delivered from a stock point. I mean, clearly he's gotten back to sort of level at the start of his tenure, and so I would give him like a C for the stock here because he's still trying to get back to sort of Jeff Bezos's attainment, which is like years and years of stock improvements, and so he still has a lot to prove compared to his mentor Jeff.
Do you think though that he doesn't have the same benefit as Jeff from a runway perspective, because everyone continued to invest in Amazon, even though for years with Jeff it was unprofitable. And now, there's just now this like more maniacal focus from the investor community on profitability. Do you think that he also just has a different level of heat on him around that than Jeff ever did?
Wall Street is very much a what have you done for me lately kind of place. Jeff was always really good at managing investor sentiment.
Yeah.
And so even from the beginning of Amazon, he's like, you probably should invest in us, but if you want to, we're not going to make money, maybe ever. And so when they finally started making money, especially when they got into AWS and fulfillment, investors were super happy about that. Andy has had chance to put his stamp on things, which look, he was one of the key. He led the founding of AWS, which is where
Yeah.
Amazon made all its money, and
Yeah.
now he's trying to apply that logic to the rest of the business.
So do you think that we can move from a Bezos era to a Jassy era officially, where he can start to make his own name, pave his own way?
Some of those ways are frankly questionable. Like he is trying to compete with Elon and launching satellites. So it's a little bit questionable to see how they're going to monetize that. Sam Altman was going to try and raise,
Yeah,
get this number, $7 trillion to go after AI.
that's
Even
right.
Amazon doesn't have $7 trillion. And
Yeah.
so are they going to compete in a serious way in AI? I think that's a question to ask. And then can we talk about grocery for a second? Where are the
Yes.
Amazon grocery stores?
Yeah, they gone. They're not
Wah,
here.
wah.
Are they throwing in the towel on grocery, or is it just a not right now because we got to get the other house in order?
I did a word analysis. I used
Mm,
AI to do a word analysis on the
okay.
earnings call, and I counted the instances of grocery, and the number was 0.
Yikes.
And so I think investors have given up on grocery. Amazon has a famous phrase that they're willing to be willing to be misunderstood for a long time because no one in hell can figure out what exactly they're doing in grocery.
Yeah, and what about healthcare? Like, is healthcare going to lead them to the promised land?
Uh, Look, there are things to really like about healthcare. Number one is we're all getting older. Healthcare service is terrible.
Right. So it's
And
a low
so,
bar.
yeah, it's a very low bar to jump over. Like
Yeah.
last time I was in a doctor's office, I had to fill out a forms. If my healthcare ran like my Amazon Subscribe and Save, then I would be much happier. And
Yes.
then three, it's a high margin business where someone else pays, i.e., your insurance company. And
Right.
so if you can get an Amazon level experience, then that's great. What's the big problem with Amazon's healthcare strategy? There's no brick and mortar. Like where you walk it, there's no Amazon to walk into. And so Walmart is potentially better positioned there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're not going in Whole Foods to get your flu shot. It's just not happening.
Oh my gosh, it's an organic flu shot if you get it.
They probably don't allow vaccines in there, so
Yeah, it's like a placebo. I mean,
right.
it's like the FLEW shot, not the flu shot.
Yes. Yeah, so I think we've got the final scorecard queued up if we wanna throw it up and have you run it down.
Grocery, look, most certainly is an F, maybe even an F minus. That we're gonna go there. I think retail has gone from a B to an A, and I think that's the
Nice.
profitability point of view. Grocery, look, it was a no-show in 2021. AWS is moving in the right direction. I wouldn't quite give it an A yet,
Okay.
because last year a lot of retailers took their workloads off the clouds, and which is basically Amazon's code word for saying they lost a lot of business.
Right.
But what they said in the last earnings was that's starting to stop, and people are putting new workloads on the cloud again. And so I think by the end of 2024, maybe this will turn into an A. But right now, I'm a little cautious on it.
All right. All right. Well, it'll be one to watch. They have to be watching Temu, Shein, some of these other places, right? I mean, Temu's just setting up shop right in Amazon territory, opening up offices. What do you think about adding in the future competitive pressure and thwarting competition?
Yeah, I think competitive pressure is definitely something that Amazon is concerned about. One of the interesting tidbits I took out of Amazon's last earnings call was a quote by Andy Jassy, who said, "It's very easy to add low price selection. It's very hard to make money from it," was kind of
Sure.
the gist of what he said. And in order to do that, they need to lower their cost to serve. And
Yep.
so famously, Shein and Temu, all that junk is Chinese. Let's just call it what it is. And it's all sitting in one place in China, like right next to the manufacturers who aren't making that stuff until more or less someone places an order. And
Right.
so the supply chain can't get any more efficient.
Right.
Meanwhile, Amazon, a lot of their suppliers are Chinese, but they have to ship it over to the US and they have to put it in the right inventory facility and it has to be next. And so
Yep.
it's just different business.
Their position to win. And then we're going to go into our next topic from here, which is who else is positioned to win. And you guys, it's Taylor Swift. It's the Swiftinomics of the Swift Bowl. And there's some really good stuff to unpack here. I'm a fan at the end of the day because, first of all, let's just give her props. She's a bad ass business person, super smart. And I think people credit her with driving this huge volume of new viewership in the NFL. And it is true, but let's not forget that 46% of viewers for in the NFL have been women. Supposedly that has bumped up to 50%. So for sure, she's had an impact. Viewership for NFL games have increased by more than 2 million since her first game appearance. And when you get to the Super Bowl and the impact for advertisers, given that 85% of all purchasing power is controlled or influenced by women, this is a big deal. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see how does the Swiftonomics impact translate to actual sales, which the NRF anticipates to be 17.3 billion of spend.
Yeah, Trevor Noah made a joke about Swift in the Grammys saying the areas around Taylor Swift were increasing in value as she was walking across the room because she walked into the room while he was doing his monologue.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, it is extremely interesting to see too some new advertisers coming to the mix for the Super Bowl for the first time. Dove isn't new to the Super Bowl, but they are new in terms of coming back over the past couple of years. ELF did regional ads around the Super Bowl. This year, they're going also smartly partnering with Suits, which had this huge resurgence on Netflix. So
There's a new Suits season coming out. No Meghan Markle though.
No. So it's RIP to Megs. I think she's going to do a little guest appearance.
My wife will love that. She'll have to tune in.
Yes, exactly. So here's kind of what we're looking at, you guys. When we look at from a year-over-year perspective, the interest in not only the Super Bowl, the commercials, the halftime show. I mean, I don't know any retailer or brand that wouldn't love to see triple-digit growth like this. And we don't see a lot of 100+% year over year. But
Negative.
This is truly the impact of Taylor Swift and not only generating interest in the Super Bowl itself, but all the other aspects that go. And there's even new bets from a gambling perspective tied to Taylor Swift and her activities. And then there's even one like Will Trav, propose at the end. So what do you guys think?
Look, over under. I go with the under. I think he could do it. It's
You do?
possible. Like, look, if you're this close to Taylor Swift, like you gotta lock that shit down. That's what I'm saying.
100%. I mean, come on, like lock it down, Trav. Go for the big moment. You never ever in your life will say who else can say that they proposed in the Super Bowl? They can't.
Shoot your shot. That's all I'm saying.
Don't throw away your shot.
Yeah, and look, the NFL has been super happy that Taylor Swift is involved there. Even her like her custom Chiefs puffer jacket went viral, the other week. And I think the commercials should be fun this year. As a
Yeah.
result, I think we'll see a lot of Taylor references.
We got a whole new crew of people in Tokyo cheering for the Chiefs. So it's like, it truly is a phenomenon. I mean, it's insane. So we have one audience question that I think we want to come back to, which is why the F on grocery, Rick?
Wow, F minus on grocery. Amazon has shut down more grocery stores than it's opened, particularly in the fresh line. A lot of them, they stood up. I have family outside of Arlington Heights. They opened the store and then they like promptly shut it down. And so
Mhm.
no one knows why. Like, why would I go into a Amazon Fresh versus a Whole Foods? Why would I go into
Yeah,
an Amazon Fresh versus Aldi's, by the way, which is doing great? Um, Kroger is still huge. By the way, Walmart is the king of grocery. Amazon has a lot of grocery products online. In fact, like the biggest selection of mostly like non-perishable goods that you could
yeah,
buy anywhere. I get so many sort of grocery top
yeah,
type items from Amazon. But in terms of walking into a store, why do I need an Amazon Fresh?
yeah. What's the value proposition they're going to give us versus anything else that's in market? And when you start like actually putting real estate on the ground, and you've got now leases and fixed income and or fixed expense and capex like tied to standing up all these stores. Yes, they've done it on the fulfillment side, but look how hard that was and how unprofitable they were to get to that journey. I think who wants to take that on?
Uh, Andy Jassy wants to take it on, but we're not sure why. That's the
Not
problem.
sure why, so that's why it's an F minus.
Exactly. That's
So
why it's an F minus.
yeah, so we're also wanted to talk about resale because there's been a lot of headlines, and resale is everywhere. Rick, does the resale market get an F minus? What's your score there?
Everyone loves to talk about the circular economy. No one knows if it actually works. Like here's where like I view the resale economy. Like it's like rent the runway. Like is that company going to be in business next year? And how more circular you can get from that? Number one. Number
Right.
two is like the best resale company ever. I think, or the circular economy company ever is actually what? Facebook groups. Take your crap off my porch and please don't kill me while you drop it off.
Yeah, that's like there's this meme that goes around where there's a guy and he's clearly in his pajamas and like some puffer jacket, and he's in this parking lot and he's like, here I am sitting with this like to make $5 and I may or may not get killed, right? Like just because my wife sold something on Facebook Marketplace to make money. So you have brought back a retro, but it's a good one. And I think that the interesting thing about resale is you have companies that are trying to take ownership of what they say is their supply chain, like New Balance, and they've just launched resale. You have standalone companies like ThreadUp, Real, that have kind of made or created industries around it. And then, you've got now these companies like ThreadUp trying to sell it almost like software as a service, right? And offer it into other brands, which they say is their path to profitability. Do you believe it?
I do not. I'm
Yeah.
expecting to see Timberland launch a resale here. Actually, I think they did, and it's not going to help save them. I mean, the company is still declining. I mean, to me, I look at it like a resale like this. Seems like a great idea. 25 years ago, I started recycling and like cutting up the things for the whales that in the fish get caught, and when the plastic goes in the ocean. And I just learned this year that plastic recycling doesn't work. I just want to keep doing it, right? And it makes me feel good. And I think resale platforms are this way. Like it makes consumers feel well. Perhaps it gives a way to like make their CFO feel a little bit better that they're not giving absolutely every stick of inventory to TJ Maxx and jobbers. But the percentage of that inventory that's going to go to these resale platforms is very small because you have to hold on to the cash while it's there.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I get it. Like also some of these brands, very like high end luxury brands. You've got Louis Vuitton and Chanel and others. They've raised their prices significantly, both in 2021, 20. It's going to push more people to resale platforms because that's the gateway to getting hooked on the Chanel, the Chanel fix. But I think we're back into these like cash cramped consumer industry or consumer like economic environment. And so are people really going to be spending in that way? And do they even feel like they need, even at a resale value, is it worth it to them?
Yeah, I think consumers have a lot of questions to answer here. I'm not sold on it. ThreadUp, are they going to be in business? Rent the Runway, are they going to be in business?
Well, we'll see when ThreadUp's earnings, right, which is in March. I think it's March 14th. They said in their Q3 earnings they were going to be profitable by Q4. So it'll be interesting to watch if that actually materializes and comes to fruition.
They were going to get sold off like Poshmark did.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. All right. Here we go. So I think the last thing we want to end on is the happiness index. And we are going to unpack two areas. We talked a lot about credit card debt. We know it's there. We're going to park that for today and talk more about what's happening in the retail environment and if we can get some early looks at January sales. Our friends over across the pond in the UK actually have their numbers out. Don't know why the US can't get their shit together. Ours don't come out till February 15th.
They're 6 hours ahead. They're 6 hours ahead,
Yeah.
Jeff. I don't know if you knew this.
Oh yeah. Okay. It's that time zone thing. Cool. So, so KPMG actually put out a assessment of where the UK retail sales were, which is they increased by 1.2% in the first 4 weeks. But that's compared to a growth of 4.2% in 2022. So we definitely are seeing the slowness. And non-food sales was 1.8% in 3 months of June, or sorry, in the last 3 months to January, against a growth of 2.9% in the same year. Even health and beauty, which we thought like would be interesting. That's kind of the only brand that had any like higher low single digits at like a 4% growth. So people are still buying in the health and beauty space in the UK. But overall, basically the consensus is we're in dire straits here. The retail industry as a whole, is a multi-million-dollar industry and business for the UK. And if we don't get this back on track, we're in trouble. It's 3 million people that are employed. We've got to support families and communities. It's the everywhere economy. The UK retail sales January is bleak. So let's go to the next chart.
Wow,
which,
that's a damning report, and I think you're getting me in the UK an F minus.
And let's kind of look at what some early credit card data is. Now, this is the United States Bureau of Economic Analysis, and they do their best to mine early credit card data from Fiserv, which is kind of the earliest indicator I can see so far of what's happening in January. I will caveat this. It's a proxy because that's what they say on the BEA site. But I think there are a couple of call outs here that are interesting. If you look over, so we've got it kind of carved out by week here. Everything is either low single digits or down negative, which feels like it's not a good look for January. So overall total retail and food service, in these past couple of weeks is either slightly up in the first couple of weeks, which probably is like that gift card spending, but the rest is negative. Even last week, looking at down 9.8%. So it's looking rough goings out there.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
You sure can.
Gift cards.
Yeah.
Who remembers ever to actually spend a gift card? Like,
oh my God, I have drawers full of them. I want to have a gift card day where I like, oh, wait, we have all this money sitting here and we should go just spend it somewhere. But the problem with a gift card is you never just spend the amount on the gift card. You always end up spending over, and that's how they get you.
Yeah, recently I've been like using Rise or whatever, just like I just want to get some money for this card because I'm never literally going to use it.
Yeah, 100%. I found one that I actually literally let expire, and I felt like an ass clown. It's like money, it's just sitting there.
I know.
It's rough going. The NRF is predicting there's going to be a further 25.8 billion spent on and around Valentine's Day. I don't know who's spending it. I feel like the NRF is like pioneering and really trying for the industry, but I feel like they put out these stats and it's like trying to give people hope that that things are coming back. But like, Peter just blew it out in Q4. Like, why are they going to spend on Valentine's and what are they buying?
Valentine's is the one holiday you must spend money on. This is the one holiday where these poor guys who are trying to buy. We said that men are the worst shoppers. We had that on an earlier
We
show,
did.
and so
Yeah.
that is an established fact. They know they have to do it, and so people are going to spend money. It's going to go under the radar. They're going to put it on buy now, pay later, or something, couch money. Anywhere they're going to find money that doesn't show up
Gift
on the
cards,
credit
maybe.
card
Maybe they're
bill.
going to use their gift cards.
Gift cards. Yeah, they're gonna go on Rise and just get 50 cents on the dollar for those used gift cards.
100%. Valentine's isn't a big deal to me. If like Brian gets me a card, I'm like, cool, that's appreciate it.
You get to stay around another year.
All right. Well, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you guys for being with us. It's another fun Friday with unpacking what's going on. Rick, any last words?
Any last words are like, I would like to see an over/under on the number of Taylor Swift sightings at the
Ooh.
Super Bowl. We'll talk about it next time.
All right. I'll message you.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.